lovely people, this is Nagas News GH. We are right here inside the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and this is the PL Data Summit 2026, specifically for the public relations and the public relations with marketing students of the University of Media, Arts and Communication, UniMAC-IJ to be specific. Yeah, and then the theme for the Data Summit is Measure, Prove and Improve. Stay tuned for more.
Some gentlemen in some blouses over there. They are all looking good in their blouses. It's all good. Alright, so I promise this is exciting. We're going to have a good time today. We're going to learn. We're going to leave here for film, right? I can promise you that. But before we get started the program, I want to indulge you to help me. And let's take this order, okay?
Yeah! I also want to thank our distinguished judges, who we shall meet very soon. They have given their time and expertise to be here with us. Your presence means a great deal to us. To our 6 competing classes, today is not just about winning. It is about showing what you have learned, thinking on your feet, and proving that you understand the discipline behind good public relations practice. Compete with confidence, compete with honesty, and most of all, enjoy the experience. Thank you.
Now we come to General's Group. Please listen carefully. What does ROI stand for? And why is it difficult to calculate precisely in PR compared to advertising? So, two-part question. What does ROI stand for and why is it difficult to calculate precisely in PR compared to advertising? ROI stands for return on investment. Okay, hold on please. Now, the judges say they cannot hear you when you speak. So it's a combination of you, the contestant, and then maybe I ought to give a heads up to our sound people to if there is something they can do about it. But if there is nothing, then it means it lies upon us to project. So your answer, sir? ROI is return on investment, and usually it is due to its financial activities. And PR usually when it is what? It's financially embedded, and because of that, PR usually work on expectations, credibility, reputations, and stuff. So that is why. So yes, ROI stands for return on investment, but your answer to why it's difficult to calculate precisely in PR as compared to advertising, I do not know if so they say your time is up. I wanted to give you some. You go ahead and try to explain. So in PR, we have analytic tools that went out. And advertisement, they deal with financials. Credibility and reputation, that is what PR also deals with. So that's the difference. I don't know.
you have to differentiate between PR advertising. Yeah, you are explaining why ROI it is difficult to get that in PR specifically as compared to advertising. And you were on your way, but I don't know, maybe it's the choice of words. Because you mentioned things like reputation and all those things which are difficult to quantify. Yeah, so when Hernandez, what is a baseline measurement and why is it taken before a campaign begins? What is a baseline measurement and why is it taken before a campaign begins?
So the baseline measurement is more of the position of the phenomenon, and it is taken before the campaign because that is when you are building on that baseline to achieve something more. So, for instance, if you are trying to measure awareness, and awareness level is 20%, that is the baseline. And you do that for you to improve on it. So if you don't know the baseline, you don't necessarily want to improve.
Right. General. I would want you to name one ethical concern PR practitioners should consider when collecting audience data for evaluation. Name one ethical concern PR practitioners should consider when collecting audience data.
Privacy.
Now we go to Sir John. Name one qualitative method used in PR evaluation besides symptom. Focus group discussion. Focus group. Hernandez. What is sentiment analysis used to assess in social media evaluation?
Sentiment analysis is used to assess and understand what audiences was to say about organization on social media.
Okay. Now, we're going to the last set of questions for this round. General, what is stakeholder mapping used for in the planning stage of a PR campaign?
Stakeholder mapping is used to identify the various stakeholders and how they respond to issues, and this will help you come up with how to set in order to set an analysis and the various solutions.
Oh, okay. Now we come to Sir John. In crisis communication, what is one way an organization might evaluate whether its response was effective? In crisis communication, what is one way an organization might evaluate whether its response was effective?
Pre and post crisis service. before and after crisis evaluation.
So let's give it as a focus. Let me see what they have to say. You know what? Okay, let's hear you. Let's hear you.
Before you can evaluate crisis, you need to know the sentiment baseline along the way so that you can know the adequate information, and by the end of the day you can be able to evaluate throughout the process.
So again, I'm not comfortable with the total explanation, because what I'm looking for, this is the question, how you might evaluate whether the response was effective. So you may be, so I was a little okay even with this than the pop-up. Yeah, because sentiment shifts, you know, trust, people, recovery of trust, all these things will let you know whether your crisis communication is working or it worked. You understand? So that was the nature of the answer I was looking for. That's why I was not too excited with it. Although, yes, and evaluation is expected, but I wanted him to be specific. And I thought you were going to add that specific. So you understand why I was, yes. So you may get some marks for it, but probably not all. All right, let us look at Hernandez. Hernandez, your question, which is the final question for the round. Why is advertising value equivalency considered a flawed metric under the Barcelona principles?
Because it states that the value of advertising is equal to the value of PR. So, Barcelona principle has the founders of the Barcelona principle have negative value because they want to believe that the advertising value of equivalence is equal to that. That is, if the measure so for instance, an advertising occupies a single page in a newspaper, and a PR content also occupies a single page. Advertising value equivalence is saying that it's the same, it's an measure as the same. However, the Barcelona principle is saying that that is not the value, so they are saying that it's better to use the ROE and the ROI.
All right, I'll give it to you. All right. Now, we're done for this round. Now, before we move to the speed race, we would like to go to the judges to know how far so far. So whilst the judges are doing their computations, I would like to find out from logistics, where are my bells? Because we are entering the speed race. Where are my bells? Formative research done before launch can lower the risk of message misunderstanding found later at the outtake stage. Is this true or false? True.
Because they want. Because focus groups are not numerical, they cannot be a part of a rigorous PR evaluation. Say again. Okay, that is. Say John, having smart objectives guarantees a campaign's evaluation results will be favorable. True or false? That is false. The fact that your objective are smart is all right, Hernandez. Let's go. A cost per contact figure alone is enough to judge whether a channel was efficient. True or false? That is false. Now, the last round of questions for the true or false round. A brand with lower share of voice than a rival can still be more successful overall if its outcome metrics like trust and purchase intent are strong. Is this true or false? True. Sir John. It's statistically silence. It's
Hold on. Too much money. What do you mean? For the 100. You talk too much, we are block out. You don't get money, one block out. I'm not important. You just get some hey, Selewa, wonder why I want to live. What's up? How much you go? How much you go? How much you go?
So I rated a 10. Why? Because guys, my team won. Charlie, I gave them morale. Me, I didn't do some, but I gave them morale. You know, when they were learning, I was there. I was giving them, yeah, do it. Kevin can judge. You should do them. Yeah, bye. I'm out.
In the hall, some said they were cheated. The scores didn't match what they think they got. So follow me. I have a colleague here who also participated in the event. Follow me as I go to him. So 3, 2, 1, 0, action. Your name and where you're standing.
Okay, my name is Michael Nino Teabe and I stood for the Sundays 4 to 7 p.m. class. Yeah.
Sunday 4 to 7 p.m. class. Oh, okay. So how was the event?
Well, our first contest was we represented as the B3 class. That was the second contest out of the 6. And I feel like at a point we were not being remembered like all other groups were.
When you say you are not remembered, what do you mean by not remembered?
Well, I have a personal issue. At a point during the speed race, we were giving a time to answer a certain question. Honestly, we were fumbling a bit, but then we got a stunt, and then they told us our time was up. So they passed on the question as a bonus, but I realized that as a bonus, the kind of time they gave, that particular group to answer the question was way beyond what they would give a certain group as an actual question.